Hungary is long famous as the most market-oriented of the Soviet bloc economies.
Partly as a result of already being somewhat marketized, Hungary has followed a more gradualistic transition program.
Hey buds, I'm Rajan.
And I am James.
Come, pack up your gear and join us as we head to Hungary, and together, let's find out if the result of Hungary's gradualism approach was really the first successful completed transition or the otherwise.
Only here on Economics Now.
Hungary, also known as Magyarország or Land of Magyars, is a landlocked country of Central Europe surrounded by 7 countries. The nation is divided into 19 counties, whereas the capital Budapest acts as a separate administrative entity. The largest cities are of course Budapest, Debrecen, and Szeged.
Most of the territory of the country consists of plains and mountains of medium height. The Hungarian Lake Balaton is the largest lake in Central Europe. Population of Hungary has been declining steadily since 2001. According to the figures of 2020, Hungary has a population size of 9,660,351, placing it in the 94th rank among countries in the world by population.
The population density in Hungary, moreover, is 107 people per square kilometer.
It has a total fertility rate of 1.5 live births per woman. The most intense decrease in birth was seen during the 1980s due to major changes in Hungary's borders following World War I.
This is because a short history sidetrack. Before World War I, Hungary was like a lot bigger and had a kingdom that spanned all the way from the Croatian coast to a large chunk of what is now Western Romania. After World War I, the Treaty of Trianon cut up over 70% of the land previously held by Hungary and ceded it to its neighboring states, which effectively cut off about a third of ethnic Hungarians still living in those areas. In terms of employment, around 75% of the people ages 20 to 64 in Hungary have a paid job. 83% of men are in paid work compared with the 68% of women.
In Hungary, the literacy rate among the population aged 15 years and older is a steady 99.1%.
On the other hand, unemployment rates in Hungary is significantly lesser, with 3.46% on both sexes.
The Overseas Security Advisory Council, or OSAC, of the U.S. Department of State has assessed Budapest as being a low-threat location for crime, remained relatively low in all major crime categories. Generally, a very safe country.
Moreover, in 2020, Hungary's gross domestic product is amounted to around 154.56 billion US dollars and will continue to ascend according to projections up to 2026.
Once part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Hungary emerged from 45 years of communist rule to become fully independent in 1990. Hungary is the one that has engaged fairly successful in gradual transformation. It was poised to do so because Hungary began a gradual movement toward a market economy after introducing its new economic mechanism, or NEM, in 1968. This market socialist foundation allowed it to move gradually to a reasonably complete market economy without taking a sudden leap across a vast unknown abyss, as compared to the former Soviet satellite, Poland, that has fairly successfully engaged in shock therapy. Since the 1968 to 1988 period, Hungarian leaders claimed to be following a market socialist model. Ownership of the means of production remained overwhelmingly in state hands. Many prices were decontrolled, and most short-term command central planning was inoperative. Nevertheless, many prices remained controlled, and the central government used many methods to coordinate enterprise behavior bureaucratically.
Hungary's national and only official currency is forint. It was officially named after the city of Florence, where golden coins have been minted since the year 1252.
The country's national bank, referred to by Hungarians as Magyar Nemzeti Bank, is responsible for issuing and maintaining the forint's value.
The Hungarian economy has been in the upper ranks of the moderately free for more than a decade. Hungary's economic freedom score is 67.2, making its economy the 55th freest in the 2021 index.
According to the OECD reports in Hungary's well-being in the year 2018, 8% of the population live in income poverty. 22% of poor households spend more than 40% of their income on housing costs, and 14%, a significantly lesser percentage of the Hungarians, claim that they are not satisfied with their life. Hungary's exported goods and services amount to a total of $145.3 billion. This positions the country as the 35th largest product export economy and 37th largest service export economy. Electrical machinery and equipment is its major exports, while pharmaceuticals is the country's fastest grower among the top 10 export categories, placing it in the 30th exporters of pharmaceuticals in the world.
Hungary has a considerable influence in Central and Eastern Europe and serves as a middle power in international affairs. The foreign policy in Hungary is based on four basic commitments: to Atlantic cooperation, to European integration, to international development, and international law. The Hungary economy is very open and relies strongly in international trade. Overall, Hungary's performance in achieving the SDGs is average and performs relatively well in indicators measuring decent work and economic growth. However, significant challenges remain, in particular, especially in improving the quality of education. Some key structural issues are the following.
The number of women in work or training remains relatively low. Outward migration and population aging put pressure on size of the workforce.
Hungary's public education system is the most unequal among the OECD countries. The rate of adult education is among the lowest, and the shortage of teachers is increasingly challenging. Greenhouse gas emissions from transport have increased strongly over the last 5 years, and emissions are projected to continue increasing under current policies.
In response to the said structural issues, Hungary is relentlessly strengthening its three pillars towards a sustainable country.
Recently, the Climate and Environmental Protection Action Plan was announced on January 16, 2020 by the Prime Minister. It proposes 8 action points.
Indeed, with generally well-established market institutions, reasonable macroeconomic stability despite a still somewhat high inflation rate and Western European levels of privatization, Hungary is perhaps the first of the former socialist nations to have completed the transition process.
With its substantial social safety net, Hungary may have gone from being a market socialist economy to a social market economy.
An ideally smooth journey through all the phases of transition is unlikely in any case. It is certain, however, that some countries will go through transition in a much more orderly way and consequently much faster than others.
Those who will thrive certainly are the ones who do not experiment with big leaps, but rely on consistent, comprehensive, well-focused, and time-bounded policies professionally implemented and well-adjusted to the local conditions. Such pragmatic policies have to be eclectic in nature and not bounded by any specific economic theory.
This has been James
and Rajan B. Pialago Thanks for tuning in to
Economics Now.